Blackbeard, the pirate who ruled the seas. The rise of a legend. In the early 18th century, the Caribbean and the Atlantic Ocean were filled with pirates. But among them, one name stood out more than any other: Edward Teach. Known to the world as Blackbeard, he was not just a ruthless pirate but also a master of psychological warfare. His terrifying appearance, combined with his strategic mind, made him one of the most feared figures in maritime history. Edward Teach was born in the late 1600s, possibly in Bristol, England. Not much is known about his early life, but historians believe that he started as a sailor in the British Royal Navy. However, as opportunities in naval warfare declined after the War of the Spanish Succession, 1701 to 1714, many sailors, including Teach, turned to piracy as a way to survive. The capture of the Queen Anne's Revenge. By 1716, Teach had already made a name for himself as a skilled pirate, serving under Captain Benjamin Hornigold. But his true rise to power came in 1717, when he captured a French slave ship called La Concorde. He transformed the ship into a powerful pirate vessel and renamed it Queen Anne's Revenge. Blackbeard heavily armed the ship, fitting it with 40 cannons, making it one of the most powerful ships in the Caribbean. With a fleet under his command, he began terrorizing merchant ships, taking whatever treasures they carried. However, Blackbeard was not just interested in gold. He understood that fear was a weapon, more powerful than any cannon. To intimidate his enemies, he would light slow-burning fuses under his hat, creating a cloud of smoke around his face, making him look like a demon emerging from hell. Many ships surrendered without a fight rather than face him in battle. The Siege of Charleston. One of Blackbeard's most famous exploits occurred in May 1718, when he launched a blockade of Charleston Harbor in South Carolina. His fleet captured several ships and took hostages, including some of the city's most prominent citizens. Surprisingly, Blackbeard did not demand gold or jewels. Instead, he requested a chest full of medicine for his crew. Some historians believe his men were suffering from syphilis or other diseases common among sailors at the time. For nearly a week, Charleston was at his mercy. After receiving the medical supplies, he released the hostages unharmed and sailed away without bloodshed. This event showcased his strategic mind. He didn't need to waste resources fighting when he could get what he wanted through intimidation. The beginning of the end. By late 1718, the British government had had enough of piracy. The governor of Virginia, Alexander Spotswood, saw Blackbeard as a serious threat and ordered a military expedition to capture him. He sent Lieutenant Robert Maynard with 2 ships to hunt down the infamous pirate. On November 22, 1718, Maynard's ships found Blackbeard anchored near Ocracoke Island, North Carolina. A brutal battle broke out. Blackbeard and his men fought fiercely, but they were outnumbered. According to historical records, Blackbeard suffered over 20 stab wounds and 5 gunshots before he finally fell. Even after being shot multiple times, he continued fighting, showing his legendary toughness. To make an example of him, the British Navy beheaded Blackbeard and hung his severed head from the front of their ship. His body was thrown into the sea. Some sailors claimed that his headless body swam around the ship 3 times before sinking, adding to the myths that surrounded his name. The mystery of Blackbeard's treasure. Although Blackbeard's reign of terror ended that day, his legend lived on. Many believe that he had hidden a vast treasure somewhere along the coast of North Carolina or in the Caribbean. However, despite centuries of searching, his treasure has never been found. Some say he spent his riches freely, while others believe he hid it so well that no one, not even his crew, knew its exact location. This mystery has fueled countless treasure hunts and pirate legends. What can we learn from Blackbeard? Blackbeard's story is not just about piracy and treasure. It also teaches us several valuable lessons. 1. Fear can be more powerful than force. Blackbeard won many battles simply by scaring his enemies into surrendering. 2. Pirates were more organized than people think. Many pirate crews, including Blackbeard's, operated under strict codes of conduct, with rules about dividing loot and treating crew members fairly. 3. The golden age of piracy ended due to government action in the 1730s. The British and other colonial governments had cracked down on piracy, marking the end of an era. The legacy of Blackbeard. Even today, Blackbeard remains one of the most famous pirates in history. His story has been told in countless books, movies, and television shows. His terrifying image, with smoke and fire surrounding his head, has become the ultimate symbol of piracy. But the question remains, did he really hide a treasure? And if so, will it ever be found? Maybe, somewhere on a forgotten island. Blackbeard's lost fortune still waits to be discovered. The legend grows, myths and ghost stories. Even after his death, Blackbeard's story refused to die. Sailors whispered tales of his ghost haunting the waters of Ocracoke Island, where he met his bloody end. Some claimed to have seen a mysterious ship sailing in the mist, its black sails glowing under the moonlight, as if Blackbeard himself still roamed the seas in search of revenge. Others told of strange lights appearing near his supposed burial site, leading some treasure hunters to believe that his restless spirit was guarding his lost fortune. These ghostly stories only added to his legend, making him a larger-than-life figure who transcended history. The hunt for Blackbeard's treasure. For centuries, treasure hunters have searched for Blackbeard's hidden riches. Some believe he buried his gold along the coast of North Carolina, while others think it lies beneath the waters of the Caribbean. One theory suggests that Blackbeard never trusted his crew completely, and may have hidden his most valuable loot in multiple secret locations. Another theory claims that his treasure was never gold and silver, but rather valuable goods like spices, weapons, and medicines, which he traded in secret. Despite the many expeditions, no undeniable proof of Blackbeard's treasure has ever been found. But this hasn't stopped adventurers from trying. Perhaps one day, a lucky explorer will uncover his long-lost fortune. The real Blackbeard, pirate or revolutionary. While history often paints Blackbeard as a ruthless criminal, some historians argue that he was more than just a pirate. He was, in many ways, a rebel against colonial rule, challenging the power of European empires in the Americas. Pirates like Blackbeard often created their own independent societies, where sailors could escape the strict class divisions of the time. In pirate crews, captains were often elected, and decisions were made democratically, something unheard of in most European navies. Was Blackbeard just a greedy pirate, or was he part of a larger movement against oppressive colonial governments? The answer may never be fully known, but his impact on history is undeniable. Blackbeard in popular culture. Today, Blackbeard remains the most famous pirate of all time. His image, with a wild black beard, burning fuses in his hat, and a terrifying presence, has inspired countless movies, books, and TV shows. From Hollywood films to pirate-themed video games, Blackbeard's legend continues to capture the imagination of people around the world. His fearsome reputation set the standard for how we imagine pirates today: bold, ruthless, and larger than life. The enduring mystery. Over 300 years after his death, Blackbeard's name still echoes through history. His treasure, if it exists, remains unfound. His ghost, if the stories are true, still haunts the seas he once ruled. And his legend, without a doubt, will live on for generations to come.